Is definitely the sickest factory pit bike you can get for under $3,000.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Pat Outdoors. If you watch this channel, you probably already know I kind of have a thing for electric dirt bikes and pit bikes. And today we just had a huge package delivered by UPS and I cannot wait to share it with you. Let's go see what's in this box. Man, I'm so excited to get this bike together that I forgot to mount the display on the handlebar before putting the bar pad on. So I'm gonna take that back off to make some space. If I could just assemble and ride bikes for a living, that would be the freaking dream. Axle nuts are 19 mil, the bolts are 17. Pinch bolts are 5mm Allen. Now you're going to notice there's two spacers in the axle. One is much longer than the other. The longer one goes on the side of the wheel that has the brake caliper. The shorter one goes on the far end. According to the user manual, we have to torque down the front axle nut 55 foot-pounds while all of the pinch bolts are loose. Now we can torque down all the pinch bolts to 8 foot-pounds. Taking the seat and the battery top bracket off makes it a lot easier to access the hardware for the rear shock. So we can remove this brace that they put in place for shipping and install the actual shock. I actually forgot to mention something earlier. There's this lubricant that came with the RTR toolkit that you should apply to the front axle and the bolts for the rear shock. Obviously not on the threads, but only on the portion that makes contact with the shock. Just reduces the chance of binding. Now the hardware for the rear shock should be torqued down to 35 foot-pounds. You might be wondering where the battery is. I believe it ships separately from the bike. I'm gonna clean up all this mess and run inside and see if we got any other boxes from Electro. Turns out we got 2 more packages from Electro. Here's the battery. 72 volt, 25 amp hour. And then on the small box, this is just a 35 extreme chain, which I believe they want me to install on this bike. Wonder what's wrong with the original one. Battery connector is a QS8 style. And then the charge port over here is a XT90. The bike came with a 5 amp charger, so you can see max output is 84 volts. I'm gonna let this thing charge overnight, then we're gonna throw it on the bike and take it out tomorrow. Man, that is a lot of battery for a bike this size. And apparently Electro made it so you can put in even a 35 or 40 amp hour. I'm just messing around, guys. We're not gonna mod this bike. As you probably already know at this point, this is Electro & Co.'s new ETM RTR, which is the top tier of electric pit bikes. For once, we got a bike that is properly spec'd right out of the factory. I don't think I'm going to be modding this thing for a little while. It already came with a 14-inch front and 12-inch wheel set with some knobbies on there. It's got a beefy front suspension. This fork has 48mm stanchions on it, which is also rebound and compression adjustable. The rear suspension is actually a pit bike shock, which is a lot heavier duty than a standard mountain bike shock that you can fit on a Razor. This tubular frame was designed by Electro & Co. and is not shared with any other bike. Same thing with this rigid swing arm that has built-in axle blocks for chain tension adjustment. So this is not a toy. This is more like a small motorcycle. Already came with pit bike brakes and custom 203mm rotors, which measure out to be 3mm thick. So these are no mountain bike brakes. I was worried at first that it came with pit bike brakes because I didn't want to have that clunky dead feel, but these actually feel really smooth and you can modulate them pretty well. They have the controller mounted on the front of the frame, which is best for cooling, skid plate at the bottom. And I actually just checked on Electro & Co.'s website. This bike actually has enough space to fit a 35 and a 45 amp hour battery, which they both offer. And they both have a peak output of 400 amps, 250 continuous, which is insane because we can tune this thing for over 20 kilowatts in the future. But right from the factory, it comes with 8 kilowatts of power already, which drives it up to over 50 miles per hour, which is a lot higher spec than your standard Talaria or your Suron Light B. And I think the plastics are absolutely stunning. This bike almost looks like a mini Stark Varg, but got even sharper, more attractive body lines to it, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think so far. Since this is designed to be a motocross bike for kids, Electro made it easy to swap the battery out when you're at the track. Just look for the seat release handle over here, pull, and that unlatches the seat, gives you access to the battery. At this point, you would just unscrew the knob, take the top bracket off, unplug the 2 connectors, and pull the battery out. Stick another one in there if you have a second or third battery, which would allow you to just keep racing at the track. So very little downtime, no need to wait for the current battery to charge. The chain seemed oddly tight at first, but their specs actually call for 1 to 10 millimeters of slack, which is okay since the motor is mounted in the swing arm, so the chain slack doesn't change when the rear suspension compresses. I'm not going to throw the new chain on just yet. I just want to see how this bike rides right out of the box, and you already know that we're going to be doing some work on this in the near future, so I'm just going to do it then. This right here is the charge port, so you're able to leave the battery in there and charge it. Ignition is right on top of the stem. Bike came with 2 keys, and it's got the LCD display up here, which shows your speed, how much charge you have, odometer, and what gear you're in, but really it's just a mode. So there's 3 different modes. Mode 1 is the lowest power level. Mode 2 is the middle. And then there's an S for sport. Pretty convenient that they have this mode switch right here on the throttle. Super easy to reach when you're riding. Let's see if these have different top speeds and different gears. So the lowest power range goes up to 57 miles per hour with no load on it, obviously. Let's see what 2 does. Let's see what sport does. So what I'm suspecting is this just changes the throttle curve or how the power rolls in, which probably also changes the torque as well. For more information on the ETM RTR, I'll have a link to Electro's website in the description below. You can also get yourself $150 off this bike using discount code PADOutdoors5.
Still sub-freezing temperatures here in Virginia, but I can't wait to take this thing out. First thing I want to try out is the speedometer accuracy. I just want to see what kind of top speed we can get on the display on the bike and compare it to the top speed we get on GPS. Man, the suspension on this thing is noticeably stiffer than my other bikes. It's probably meant to take some big jumps and hits. All right, so we're showing that we hit 42 right there. Let's see what the GPS reads. And maximum speed on the GPS is 42. So the speedo on the RTR is actually super accurate, which you can't say about most e-bikes. Dude, this thing's got so much power. Yo, the RTR is more than enough power for an adult to have fun with it. Cruising around 45. Just to give you guys some perspective, it's about 27 degrees here in Virginia right now. We're below freezing temperatures, so there is a little bit of battery sag to be expected, as with all electric bikes in this kind of weather. My favorite thing about this thing so far is the seat height. Like, the overall size of this bike is larger than all my Razors, larger than the 2DO, but just a little bit shorter than my Talaria XXX. So one thing you'll notice here is the digital display already shows that we're down to 70%. I actually think that's very inaccurate. I believe this speedometer works off of voltage, so if we restart this, as you see, we're back up to 88% battery. That tells me that this display works off of the lowest voltage reading at the time, which is under pull, full load. Of course, the voltage is going to drop. Now let's do a top speed test on the sport mode. Got a car over here, but I think I saw 55 or 56 miles an hour. We'll check on the GPS in a little bit. But really, 8 kilowatts on a tiny bike like this is more than enough power. I don't think you're going to need any more than this to have some fun. Alright, but it's way too cold to keep riding around. I just want to take it out for its first ride. I'm going to take this thing out to our property in West Virginia to get some off-road testing. I've been working on some dirt bike trails over there. I also want to go over all of the modifications possible for the RTR. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you like this kind of content, want to keep up with some of my projects, such as this ETM RTR, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit your bell notification on. But this is going to be it for today. Thank you for watching.